So let's see what's staying, what's not staying, etc. All that. So the core set. Let's begin from the top, right? First we have Demon Hunter. And Demon Hunter, you know, one thing I was looking forward, I don't play much standard, but one thing I was looking forward was actually, you know, the battlefield rotating. That was something I was actually looking forward. And it's not rotating. Nice. Amazing. Well, what else? This I think was rotating too. I actually don't remember. But Sigil Runner, it's okay. I can get behind Sigil Runner. It's balanced. Chaos Strike, I don't mind. Piece of Soul, never used. No, the new legendary. I actually glad they are rotating Altruist because Altruist is very toxic. I don't like Altruist in the slightest. And the other legendary, the dragon, was very underwhelming and not very fitting for the class. So that's wild. No, I know we get some people are saying this is Pen Flinger. I don't see it. I mean, it has the same quote unquote effect, but it's with outcast scars. Overall, I think this is not that good, especially not in wild. This card won't see playing wild at all. Solid Watcher, okay. Spectral Side, nothing too out of the ordinary. Warblades, I-Beam. This also was rotating. I think these two were rotating, but I don't mind it. I mean, I-Beam at 1 mana, it's fair balance. So the Warglaives are coming back, buff, quote unquote, at 5 mana again, so you can play it in odd Demon Hunter. That's the only Demon Hunter deck that seems to be playable in wild. In standard, probably it's good still at 3 durability. It's a lot less damage, but it's still very good to clear the field or whatnot. At worst, it's still 9 damage. So yeah, this is very Monkas. But I don't think it will break the game. I hope it doesn't. Pulse Screamer is a nice card to have because we have this. And actually the other big demons are staging standard. Well, not all of them. Some of them are staging standard. The 9 mana guy that summons demon for your deck, it's staging standard, so it's good that that card has a payoff in this. This card is very good. I mean, it has rush, and if you manage to attack your opponent, it will also attack your opponent. So the dream with this card is that you have a weapon equip and you attack your opponent on the turn you summon it, and it deals a lot of damage, and then you can trade or whatnot. So yeah, this people are saying it's dangerous, but it's 8 mana in a Demon Hunter, so at least in wild it's not dangerous at all. So Druid actually got a Shattered Raven back, and I'm very glad because Shattered Raven is a very good card, and apparently Druid is having this new identity of actually having Beast, and you know, kind of aggressive game plan. They have bounced, Inner base is not a nature card, whatever that means for the card. I mean, I know what nature means, but we don't yet have synergy around it. So for now, it doesn't mean anything. For now, maybe later it will mean something. I mean, that's the idea behind this. Mark the Wild buff, I don't think it's. I mean, it's better because it's strong and gets plus 3 health. That's basically the free spell that gives life steal. But Taunt and life steal are two completely different things. So I don't know. I mean, it's good. It's a good card. It's very well. I don't see him play, but at least it's better, and that's the idea, right? That they buff a lot of cards. This is the same, and this is staying. Feral Rage. Well, it's okay. Lands. I told you I have a list of changes. I will check it later. Landscaping being part of the core set, it also makes sense because when this card rotated, I actually was kind of sad. I played more standard at the time than I do now, and landscaping and force of nature they're both very good cards for the True Undead in standard. While of course this had to get a buff in order to be playable, but I'm not sure I wanted this to get buff, so it's okay. Wild Growth, people were estimating Wild Growth to actually rotate and be buff, and I'm glad that's not the case. Wild Growth at 2 mana is kinda monkas. Nodra Seal Druid, this card is new. The next spell you cast this turn goes 3 less. Oh, it's this turn only. It's not like the Studies card. So yeah, it's a 3 mana discount on a 4 mana card, so it's not excellent for mana cheating, but it's excellent for making tempo plays, I guess. So probably it's his place in standard. In Wild, Druid has this thing in Wild where you can't play minions that are 4 mana or less because of Oaken Summon, and in decks that don't play Oaken Summons, you don't play minions. So yeah, poor this card cannot see playing Wild. This is the same, but it's nature now. This is the same, I think. Yeah, it's the same. 7 mana, 10-5. It's not good. Nourish comes back. This is another card that people thought will get buff and rotated or whatever to 5 mana. Nourish used to be 5 mana actually. But it stays. And of course it won't see play so long as the other card it sees. What is it? It's, Overgrowth. As long as Overgrowth is standard, you don't play Nourish because it's awkward playing the two. But yeah, it's back. Menagerie Warden, we already seen this card, and we are. I guess it's good if you like play Twilight Runner and then copy it and draw 4 cards. That's maybe. Because if you summon Twilight Runner with Rush and then play this, I'm sure the copy also has Rush. Because it's a copy, so yeah, there's that possibility, I guess. This is okay. This was buff. Well, I'm not sure if buff is the right word because now this rush instead of charge. Charge, as you might see, charge was removed from the game basically, except for Demon Hunter, because I don't know, Demon Hunter has charge as a game mechanic identity. I don't know, but well, they erase charge from other classes, and this is rush now. Yeah, and has more attack. Probably won't see play, but I guess it's better if you discover it or whatever. While it's unplayable. Scenarios is 8 mana now. It should have always been 8 mana, I think. In Wild is only 6 play with the quest. If you are into that, you know, the choose one quest. And even there is not stellar, but it deserves to be 8 mana. So good for scenarios, I guess. No, Hunter. Hunter is spicy because of this card. This is one of the best buff and a buff I was actually expecting to see. Well, basically that I'm not sure if this is something you want to do in standard because Hunter is not like a spell heavy class usually, but in Wild, I mean it won't be good, but you already know what deck this goes in, right? This slots right into you can load. I know it's better. You basically play all the secrets, play Soldier 9 to tutor the secrets out. You play Clock Huntress to play them all with this, and you generate a lot of Hunter cards, and it won't be very good, but it will be very fun. So yeah, another thing is tracking got changed, and it has actually sparked some controversy because some people say it's better, some people say it's worse, because actually being able to discard 2 cards from your deck has some uses. Being able to get rid of minions you don't want, be able to get rid of low cost cards that you were only supposed to play in the early game, it's good. But like, sure, in standard, probably. But when you want to play Hunter in Wild, Hunter is not really a class, so you have to play like very specific Hunter list. You can't play like our Hunter because you are not going to get anywhere with that. So in Wild you have to play like Reno Hunter or OTK Hunter with Maligos and even Hunter where this card cannot be played there, but you get the idea. And like it's better, marginally better, because in those decks you don't actually want to discard stuff from your deck because everything in your deck is like important to you. Especially in Reno decks. In Reno decks, playing tracking felt so bad, and now you don't actually discard stuff, so that's better. In OTK, you don't play tracking, the old tracking, the tracking we have right now. You don't play it in OTK decks because you can't mill your, your win condition. You can mill your damage or whatever. You can get a bad discover there. And now that's not the case. Now you just play tracking, discover a card for your deck. So yeah, that's interesting. I like the new tracking because it's interesting because it doesn't have like a downside. So you can play it in more decks. So overall I think this is a win. So yeah, I like the new tracking. Wet spinner is no core, and that doesn't mean anything other than the fact that, Hunter 1-drops are abysmally bad. This is the same, but now it's a fire card. This is the same, but now it's a frost card. I'm not sure why it is a frost card because it's not really freezing anything, but okay. Headhunter is a nice weapon. I actually like it. Decision making behind this change is that they want Hunter to have less burst, and having a weapon that is basically infinite does that, and probably also means that they can make more secrets because they don't have the weapon. I don't know. Overall, Hunter doesn't have much secret synergy now, so I'm guessing that's a design choice to be able to print more secrets. I don't know. Hatchet is, it's okay. It's a 2-3 weapon if you control a beast, and you usually don't control a beast, so yeah, it's kinda awkward. So quick shot is back, and it does the same. So yeah, we already know this is good, and they want to push a direction in Hunter that have more cheap damage but not high end damage, because you know the other Hunter card is gone. So yeah, now you have quick shot, which is okay, better because it's 3 damage and not 5, and 5 is a lot of damage, and I think they're trying to lower the amount of damage in standard. For a while where this matters. This car is interesting because it's a stitch tracker but cheaper and only works with beast, but it's also a really low tempo play. It's the same as Stitch Tracker. This Stitch Tracker is a 3 mana 2/2. It's also a very low tempo play. So overall, this card will be good in like OTK Hunter or whatever, but OTK Hunter is not very possible right now. Maybe with Leo Rocks and you get multiple King Crushes. We will see. We will see. This card is interesting in Wild because in Wild you can't use this with Stitch Tracker in some kind of weird combo decks. Maybe in Reno you can play this if you can find a good beast you want copies of. You probably can't, but if you ever can, well, Also, this works better if you are playing Dire Frenzy because you can discover a copy of the buff minion and get it. I guess that's the reason this is here, to play it with Dire Frenzy. By the way, I'm really, really glad Dire Frenzy is back. It's sad that it doesn't have a buff, but it doesn't really need a buff. But I'm glad it's back. It's a good card. And actually, this card is one of the cards that feels very, very Hunter. Like when this card was in standard, it felt like core to the class. Sure, you had a rush with life tilt that went with this card almost always, but well, it's that. Deadly Shock is still here. I don't like the new art, but whatever. I don't think it's his play. Probably if it was like 2 mana, it will see play. I'm sure at 2 mana it's balance. It's a random enemy minion, so I mean Hunter could use a 2 mana Deadly Shot actually. Berserk, amazing card. I love this card. When it was in standard, I played it a lot. In Wild, I never played it, but I always want. Snake Tribe is back. So you will see. I actually already saw this, and every class that has like base secrets core to them got only 3 of them. So that's interesting because they want to work with like a limit amount of secrets at the time, at a certain time. So you see, when Rogue gets secrets, they get like 3 secrets at a time. So I think they want to promote that secrets come 3 on 3 on 3 on 3. So yeah, we got these 3 secrets. Hunter lost like Snipe, which Snipe was not very good, so I don't think people miss it. I would have rather Snipe get buff, but I can see why it wasn't, so it's okay. Savannah Hideman is here. Savannah Hideman is actually it's very mediocre. It's very not that good, so with all above, there's no other reason to play it. I actually wanted all the classes to get new legendaries, and that's not the case, so I'm kind of bummed out about that. So Mage now got Babylon Book, which some people are fine with because it's a card that feels very Mage. Some people are not because this is, random generation. Random generation feels bad usually, but I think it's okay. Mage can have some of that. It's like their identity anyways, and when it's like this that it's so random, well, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. Shooting Star, this card, it replaces Arcane Blast or Shot or whatever, the 2 mana card that deals 1 damage to all minions that never saw play. And this is better because it's 1 mana and 3 minions is a lot, I guess. And it works with spell damage that apparently is a thing. Snap freeze. I think this used to cost 2, and a 2 was very bad. It's a buff to a card that you can generate in like Quest Mage, so that's something. Arcanology is no part of the core set. I absolutely hate this card in Wild. In Standard is actually okay. Fallen Hero, interesting card, no buff, so I don't care much for it. It's a nice card, so I'm glad it's Standard now. Arcane Intellect, same thing. This got buff to 3 mana, so this is a buff to Zephyrs. And probably not that much of a buff, but it is. And I think this is more playable now. It's not good, but it's more playable. So the 3 secrets that Mage got were Counterspell. I hate this secret. They should delete this secret from the game, to be honest. It's the most frustrating secret to place against. Ice Barrier, sure. A Mirror Entity, I guess. Pretty weak secrets Mage got, so... But they got this. I guess exactly because of that, because the secrets are very weak. Fireball is back. And that's it. This didn't get buff. It didn't need a buff, but it's too tame to be playable. So this card, it has a spell damage +2, and when it dies, then it's minion you draw, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be on the same turn. It doesn't have to be already in your hand. It's the next minion you draw. Whatever that minion is, it will have a spell damage +2. People asking if inherits these powers means also buff on this card, but I don't think that's the case. And you can't buff things in Mage, so it doesn't matter much anyways. But having this permanent spell damage +2 feels very Mage. I don't think this is much play in Wild. I don't know, but this card is very interesting. I like it a lot. It's interesting design. Now 2 cards coming back with a buff. So discover a spell. This has 4 health now. And that's irrelevant for Wild, and for Standard it feels very Mage, so I'm okay with it. And Caldera Rake got a buff to 7 mana. I guess Ruffle is happy because he plays even Mage, and this is a very meaningless buff to even Mage, but it's a buff, so Flame Strike to 5. This probably is playing Standard, and maybe in Wild, because 5 damage is a lot. I know 7 mana is also a lot, but I mean, you never know. 5 damage is a huge difference from 4 damage, so maybe some Control Mage picks this up. And well, Zephyrs, obviously. Zephyrs cannot discover this. I don't think that makes much of a difference for Zephyrs, but it's a consideration. So Paladin got a new secret, and it's a very good secret. After an enemy minion deals 3 or more damage, destroy it. And it deals 3 more damage in any way, so it's if the minion deals damage with a battle cry, it's destroyed. If it deals damage in battle, it's destroyed. So it's a very flexible card. Yeah, it's nice. Righteous Protector being standard makes sense. When this card rotated, it felt like Paladin had lost all its identity. Argent Protector is a 3-2 now. It's above to even Paladin, which I think will start stacking. On standard, it's an interesting card. You can consider it in like, I don't know, the pure Paladin things I think is rotating out, so probably not that. Yeah, it's rotating. I remember it's rotating. So yeah, you don't. If it wasn't rotating, you will play this in that deck because it's a lot better. This is a huge improve, but well, maybe on late rounds you play it. Holy Light now heals 8 instead of 6, and this is another Zephyrs buff that will probably come in handy sometimes. Sometimes you just need to heal a lot, and this is probably the biggest heal you can get. Because the Druid heal that heals for 8 costs 3 mana, and this costs 2. So yeah, Zephyr buff. No, this is a new card, and this card is very interesting. So for the rest of the game, any Silver Hand recruits you summon in any way will get this buff. So yeah, that's very good. I mean, they are pushing like some kind of Dude Paladin in standard, and in wild this. I mean, Dude Paladin outside of Odd is very bad, but with this is a little bit better. It's like a reason to not play Odd, another reason to not play Odd. And in Event, this is also interesting, and probably you play this if you're playing Event for some reason. You can have fun with that deck, I guess. This is the same. This is 3 mana. I was expecting this to get buff all the way down to 2. Because at 4, it's unplayable. At 2, it's actually quite good. We were expecting this card to actually rotate, but it didn't, so yeah, it's a 3 now. I guess Odd Paladin can play this. That's okay. They already play like Lord Baroth. So if you ever need more Lord Baroth in your deck, or if you can't afford Lord Baroth, you probably play this in Odd Paladin. Warhorse Training is coming back, and the downside to that is that it's coming back buff. It is a 3 mana 3/4 now, which is very awkward because Wild plays this card. Odd Paladin plays this card already, and now it's buff. This is already a very good card in that deck, so Odd Paladin will be a bit more obnoxious than it already is. These two cards not getting buff, they feel so old now. True Silver Champion is also the same. Stand, this coming back is huge probably for these odd decks that they, well, not odd, for these dude decks, these Silver Hand recruit decks that they are trying to push. It didn't get buff or anything, so nothing to see here for a while. Warrior Kings got a huge buff. No. It has taunt now. And 7 health. Like, this card is so huge now. Like, it's a taunt. There's a huge difference between playing a card that heals your hero and only does that, and playing a card that actually heals your hero, and on top of that it also has taunt. So yeah, this probably is playing standard. In Wild, of course it doesn't, it's too slow, but it's a card you can consider maybe in some decks. But I like that it has taunt. It's a good change. And of course Tyrion. Boring old Tyrion. So yeah, Priest got this card, which is Light Warden. No, this is harder to remove. So yeah, I like this card for that deck. You know, that kind of aggro-age Priest, and also it's a very good minion to have. Because Priest didn't have any good 1-drops. Flash heal feels very Priest. It's a lot of healing in one card. But it's okay. It's Holy Smite is a card that had a controversy talking when they said that they were rotating cards and buffing cards and whatnot. If this card rotated, people were actually concerned with it, because right now Holy Smite is very good. It sees play in Big Priest, it sees play in Highlander Priest, because 1 mana deal 3 damage is a lot. But it can go face, so people were discussing whether it's better to deal 3 damage to a minion or 2 damage and be able to go face. And personally, I would have preferred if you could go face, because I much prefer to get OTK than for Priest to be able to remove my 3-drop so easily. So yeah, I really dislike this card. Silence a minion, then give it +3 health. This is a silence priest card, you know, the archetype that you silence your minions for whatever reason, and silencing your opponent minions and giving them 3 health is not something you want to do. And the 0 mana silence is gone, so this is a weird card. This is the same. Lightspawn got buffed to a 3 mana 4/4 instead of a 5 mana 4 mana 5/5. And there's a huge difference between having an overstated minion in 4 and having it of 3. Because playing this on 2 is a 4/4, that's very huge. And well, basically that. Maybe like OTK Priest you can make it work with this card if you wanted to do that for some reason. I absolutely hate this card with all my might, because with this card Big Priest basically plays 4 copies of extra of any spell they want, because they have, you know, shadow visions, and now they have thrive in the shadows. I really hate this card. It will not be funny to play against in Wild, because Big Priest is really obnoxious with being able to generate their cards. And now you will see a lot more of Shadow Essence on 6 and 5. And that's the opposite of what you want. So yeah, that's very obnoxious. The Shadow Form is back. I'm not sure if it always was 2 mana, but that's like... Oh, someone is following. Thank you for the follow, Nate. I appreciate it a lot. I don't remember if Shadow Form was always 2 mana, but it feels like it should be 2 mana, so I am okay. Oh, the other Shadow War is gone. Shadow Spirit. Deal 3 damage to the enemy hero. So this is like one of those OTK anti-heal priest thing, but it's not an anti-heal actually because it actually deals 3 damage. Probably very good in standard because it's so well stated. It has a lot of stats and also deals 3 damage. This card is very weird. It's not the card you expect priest to have, but okay, alright, I guess. And they get Natalie. This card is very bad, so yeah. Shadow Step comes back. That's weird. I didn't expect Shadow Step to come back. But okay, I guess they actually said that they also didn't expect the Team 5. They said that they didn't expect to bring Shadow Step back because Shadow Step is a problem card. But it feels very rogue, and I agree. It does feel very rogue. Blade Cultist, okay, this is a very strong 1-mana minion. So, okay. I also didn't expect Deadly Poison to come back because of the recent controversy. But, well, I don't actually care. It's a nature spell. I don't know what that means for this card in Rogue or other classes. That I don't know if Shaman will get like a tutor for nature spells, a card generator for nature spells, and randomly Shaman gets Deadly Poison. That would be really funny. But yeah, this is a nature spell now, which makes sense. It's poison, so yeah. Cold Blood comes back on it's nerf. Also, Swashbuckler was buff. I know a lot of people didn't see this, but now it reads at a random card from another class. You know, before it was from your opponent's class, so it was very bad in the mirror. But now this is very good in the mirror, in like Cutlass, the Cutlass deck versus the Kingsbane deck. If you can get your weapon going, you can actually play this, and it will be not a rogue weapon what you get, a rogue card what you get. So now it's better. It's 100% better than before. So yeah, I like that. Patient Assassin got a buff. It's a 1/2 now. I don't think it matters at all, but it's a card, I guess. It's removal. We're removal. Doesn't matter in Wild. Vanessa Bancliffe is a card that exists. I'm not sure if you can there's no way to actually abuse this card, right? Because your opponent can always play around it if it becomes too good. So I mean, sometimes they won't be able to play around it if they are playing like on tempo and you can steal their tempo cards. But this is combo, so it's like it's weird to activate. Sure, Foxy Fraud sees, but it's a weird card. I mean, any card that supports Thief Rogue is a plus in my book, and I will be playing this in Thief Rogue, but I won't be happy about it. So yeah. Plague Scientist is back. This card is not good, but it feels very rogue. It feels like a rogue thing to do, so whatever. SI7. Assassin Blade got buff. It was 5 mana, 3/4 before. And now if 4 mana, 2/5, then that's... I mean, in a war where Nitro boosts poison and Deadly Poison exists, this has the slight chance to be playable at some point, but I'm not sure that time will come. But overall, this being buff is okay. It's a good thing because it was really bad before, and now it's borderline considerable. Yeah. Assassinate being buff because now they are admitting to power creep, and now destroying a minion is a effect that costs 4 mana. This means that Walk the Plank is really bad now. I really wish Walk the Plank will get buffed to like 3 mana because that feels like the right thing to do. But yeah, Assassinate don't cost 4 mana. You don't play this card, but it got buffed because it's like the new threshold for destroy a card. You know? Because before destroy a card used to cost 5 because Assassinate costs 5. So all destroy a card, destroy a minion cards were tailored to that effect that it should cost 5 and now it costs 4. So yeah. Tom Pillager is a very raw card, so that's okay. Spring got buff, you don't play it, but I mean preparation is still a thing, so preparation plus this is 4 mana, draw 4 that cards that you keep, and you probably don't play it, but at least it's better now. So yeah, good for them. This card is insane. This card, 1 mana spell damage plus 1, 3/2 is actually insane stats. So yeah, I mean, Shaman won't be a good card, a good class anytime soon. Shaman is still very weak, but this is a step in the right direction. This is exactly where you want Shaman to be. Menacing Nimbus being standard makes sense, but there are many elementals in standard and there are no elemental synergies in standard, so whatever. People were hoping that this will rotate so it could get buff. So Aggro Shaman could be a thing, but it didn't, so whatever. With Fury is the same. Okay. Lightning Storm got buff. It's a big buff. It doesn't. You see, it got buff to always be 3 damage because the high roll RNG to this card was really stupid. But also, you can no longer roll a spell damage totem, so in the long run, it's like a buff, but not that much because you don't have the inherent spell damage. You have to play a spell damage card for this to be better. So yeah, well, at least as a base card that you play on turn 3, it's better. So yeah, Feral Spirit, no Overlords 1, and that's not enough. It's basically a Saronite chain gun that you can't hand buff, so I'm not expecting it to see playing wild, but in standard is better, I guess. Mana Tide Totem is the same, and it's still the only draw the Carlas gets, so that's a shame. This is the same. It could have used a buff, like 5 health or something to be more playable. It's not good. Draenei got buff, so that means even Shaman is marginally better now. And also it's Totem Synergy in standard. The 0 mana card that gives +2 health is no longer in standard. But that card was not good, and when it was good, it was obnoxious, so I agree with that change. And this is also a step in the right direction, I guess. Hex is back, and it's still 4. This has life steal. I think this has always had life steal. No. This was from. This is from Ongoro. Life steal didn't exist back then. So it's a buff because if you can get spell damage plus anything, it will heal you more. But this should be 3 mana. Because penance is 2 mana. This should be 3 mana. This is the same. This is bad. This does more damage. It's probably more playable if you get it randomly. Alakir got buffed to 6 health, and that's not a lot. It will still probably not see play, but good for him because you can like generate it with this card. Ritual of Doom, destroy a friendly minion if you had 5 or more, I guess, minions. If you have 5 or more minions, just summon a 5/5 demon. This is a very interesting sub card, I guess. And nothing more than that. Villager is back. Good for him. This got buffed to 3 damage. This is probably a... This is huge. This is a good card because we already know that 2 damage, deal 3 to a minion, heal 3 is good because Priest plays that. So yeah, probably every single control Warlock deck will play this card now. I'm not very hyped about that because 3 damage is a lot on 2 mana. And healing for 3 on top of that is also a lot. Knight of Evil is standard now. That's a better discard. That's a better discard synergy, a better discard payoff card than what they had, so it's okay. Void Terror got buffed, so it can actually be played on Curve and be nice. Probably sees play in like a Su deck with X or whatever. This is okay, but I mean, I don't know if you know this, but Yggdreigon is no longer standard, so going white in Warlock has fewer payoff now. This is the same, but it's a fire card. People were actually asking whether Hellfire will be Fel or Fire because it's fire from Hell. So yeah, it's fire. It's fire. Like Felhorn got buff. Now it discards your 2 lowest cost cards, and this is a... It's a huge buff for discard Warlock in Wild. Because this card is insane against aggro. And now you can actually... I know it's not RNG, I know you know what it's going to discard, so yeah, it's so much better now. It won't discard your high-end cards, it will discard your small cards, and you can actually, you know, prepare for that and get some X discard, you know, the Spire Egg, whatever, and get the Silver War Golem discard or whatnot. Amazing card now. This is interesting, but not that much because you can't. Warlock doesn't have transforms effects, it doesn't have silence effects, so your opponent is mostly guaranteed to get the card back, but at least, I don't know, you can play this and, I don't know, get Reno, and they can't play Reno until they kill this card. And if they kill this card, you kill them. So yeah, it's like a disruption card. It's not very good, but it's a disruption card. You maybe play around it. Siphon Soul now costs 5. You probably play this in Wild because it's 5 mana for destroying a minion and healing. That's not bad. So yeah, this is probably good enough for standard. It's 10 health is a lot. We have learned that 10 health is a lot, and it's also a taunt, so they have to remove this whether they want or not. I have the cliff effect, so I hope it doesn't get added to Battlegrounds because Battleground doesn't need more cliff effects, but it's a good card. You probably experiment with it in like Reno and find out that it's not that good, but if you get this out of like the 4 mana card, the Void Color thing, let's see you get this from Void Color, right? and your opponent probably cannot kill it, and you you slam it into your opponent's minions and kill everything. It's a card that's worth considering. You know, I like the experimentation phase from having new cards. This is the same, and Yaratsus is no playable. I think people underestimate how huge this is because Yaratsus puts your opponent in a very obnoxious position because the turn you played, you already have a 3/8 weapon, and on top of that, now you get 5 health instead of losing half your health. So yeah, Yaratsus is very good now, and it will probably dominate standard and not be played in wild because Odd Warlock is not a thing and will never be a thing probably, but I don't know, maybe you played it in, I don't know, your Reno deck and randomly become your Axus and then randomly become Gul'dan because Reno decks don't care. This card is insane. Bloodshire deckhand because it's the next weapon. It doesn't discount a weapon in your hand. It is not on the same turn. It's your next weapon this game. So yeah, if you in wild, if you're playing Pirate Warrior, which you probably are, if you're playing Warrior, and you play this card, you can play Anchor on turn 2. It's a 2 mana 2/2 that draws a card, and on the next turn it draws another. So yeah, this card is insane in Pirate Warrior. It also, you can play like, what's it called? The card that doubles the damage you take. You know that card. You can play that card. It's a 1 mana 2/3 weapon. 1 mana 2/3 weapon, and you can play it with this card on turn 1. So you play, it's turn 1. You play this card. You pull patches out of your deck, and you play a weapon, and instantly you attack with it, and this is amazing. I mean, the possibilities with this card, it's very good. I like this card. I mean, it will probably be very obnoxious to play against at some point, but I don't care. I mean, Pirate Warriors really needed some buff, and Control said it because, you know, Control was playing Pirate Warrior the other day and he was very underwhelmed. This is the same. I mean, Warrior has a very good core set class thing already, I think. Protein Berserker is the same. It doesn't need a buff, but if it had been buff, it would have been okay. I would have been mad if it was. War Cash. Okashi, War Cash. Add a random warrior minion, spell, and weapon to your hand. So this is like that hunter card. It does the same. It gets a random beast, weapon, and secret, and this is a minion, spell, and weapon. So you probably play this card in like, where do you play this card? You play this card probably in control decks and get 3 cards that you probably can use. Probably in standard. In wild, I don't know, maybe if you want more stuff. In aggro, it's not ideal, but it's a weapon. I don't know, this card is very, it feels very like a card they will make for the old classic set, you know, for new players to like get to. It's a card that gives you a lot of cards you probably don't have, so it feels like that. It probably is good, but I'm not seeing it. Warzone Commander is insane now. This is a buff this above I wanted to happen when Rush was introduced and Hunter got that one Rush minion, the Horn Master Show, you know? This is basically Horn Master Show, but with like an upside because it's when you summon. So if you summon like a minion, it will get Rush as an effect. It's not like an ongoing effect. So if you summon a minion and this dies, the minion still has Rush, so it's a better effect than Home Master. But obviously the stats are worse, so it's less likely that this survives. So as it is, it's like a worse broom, but it has the chance to snowball. So yeah, this card is very good. I like it. It won't break the meta or anything, I think, because it's a weak card by itself. It doesn't have many stats and it costs 3 mana. But I like it. It's what it should have been the whole time. It feels natural for this card to be like this. And they got Warzone Outrider, another Warzone card, whatever a Warzone is. I don't know. It's a Cockron, the Elite Force, or Garage. So yeah, this is basically the replacement for Cockron Elite. You know, the charge card, because they are removing charge from the game. So yeah, this is 4 mana, good stats for the cost, 4 mana with Rush. It's actually very big, so yeah, it's probably a card you play. It's 4 mana, deal 5 damage to a minion, maybe get a card still, so it's not a bad card. You probably don't run it in wild, probably because the mummy is better, but it's a good card. I like this card. Shield Maiden is back in standard. This card is very good for standard. Wild doesn't play it anymore. Gorhole is the same. Okay. And Gromash is also the same. Also okay, I guess. Kinda boring. So yeah, the neutral cards. They change. They rotated Wisp to get Tiny Thing in. Wisp was very niche. They were very. There were not very scenarios where you want to play Wisp. I mean, they were scenarios, but they were really limited. So they changed it for Tiny Thing because it fulfills the same role as Wisp, but it's also a Murloc. So you might want to play it because it's a Murloc in like Murloc decks. Abusive Sergeant, people thought it would get buff, but it didn't. I think it could have gotten buff. 2 mana, get 1 mana, 2/1, give another minion to attack is not broken in the slightest. So yeah, I think this should have been buff. Arcane Anomaly is a card. I mean, if you play this and play the coin and play something else, it's a 1 mana, 2/2 and 2/1 drops. So yeah, there's that. That's not a bad play to cash up. So yeah, this is back and this is boring. Cockmaster is interesting because there are not many mechs in standard. Classes don't have mechs either. So this is basically here saying, hey, there's a baseline for mechs. So if we ever want to make mechs in some kind of way, there's a baseline for them. And I think, I mean, I really wanted this from the core set to be like a baseline for every tribe and most archetypes. So when it comes to making class, not even class, when it comes to making archetypes in sets for classes or for neutral archetypes or whatever, they don't have to print as many cards because there's already a baseline for them. They should always be like a baseline for elementals, so when they make elementals, there's already a core for that. Same with Murlocs and same with mechs, and there really weren't many. There weren't any mech like synergies in the basic and classic set. And now that's called master. So nice. That's very good. This is the same. This could have gotten a buff. I think it being the same is very underwhelming. This is also the same, but it says play, so yeah. This is the big car everyone's talking about. It no longer has charge, and Tundra Rhino no longer exists in Hunter. And hear me out. I actually prefer if Tundra Rhino doesn't exist in Hunter in Standard, because that means they can print stronger beast for the class, because there's no the random chance that you give it charge and kill your opponent. And it's the same with this. They can now print more beast buff because there's no always a charge card that will kill your opponent. So that's the reasoning behind removing charge, so that going forward they don't limit the design choices they make for cards, because you know that this card and Thunder Rhino and the Murloc charge and whatnot, all those cards limited a lot the cards they could make. Like you can't print many Murloc buff because then you randomly kill your opponent with a charged Murloc. You can't print Beast buff because then you randomly kill your opponent with a random boar. And it happened. We actually saw that happen earlier in the year, last year. There was a boar OTK where you buff it and you copy it and you kill your opponent from hand. And I'm not saying that's not good, but I'm saying that shouldn't be a card that's in the base set. That should be something they plan for and make for, and it rotates at some point. Because OTK shouldn't be like universal. There should be something that happens in a small period of control time, so that it doesn't limit design space. So yeah, this is a good change. I'm glad they made it, because Hunter really needs some quality cards in Wild. This is a change that I'm glad for Wild, because now it means that going forward probably the cards they bring for Wild, especially Beast, can be better, because they no longer have the 3 mana deal 5. They no longer have the card that gives all beasts charge. They no longer have the beast that has charge itself. So yeah, it opens up a lot of space. This is the same, and this is the same. This is very boring. Whatever. Thanos is still here. Okay. Annoyotron comes back. So yeah, Annoyotron is a very good neutral taunt for both aggro decks and control and slower decks, because the Divine Shield taunt is a mechanic that slows down your opponent a lot. So yeah, Neutron we probably see play in a lot of decks, especially like Cockmatter 6 exist. Bloodside Raider comes back, and this card also has a lot of cleavage. I had never seen this card so close up before. I'm surprised a lot of them are, yeah. Ooze comes back. That's good. This card, it's the same as always has been, and it's not very good. Here's the other card we're talking about. 2 mana 3/1 rush is actually better, especially in Murloc decks where you're playing for board. So yeah, I don't mind it. I think that were alpha could have seen a buff, This card is like one of the best minions to remove other cards, but it's a red rattle, so you play, you take the damage until you remove everything, so it's like a good way to have that. But it also has that rattle, so some decks might, abuse that. I like this. This is very good. This is a card that belongs here. Foxile Firebooter. This is a freebooter. Foxile Freebooter. I have no idea what that means. This card, you play this in Kingsbane in Wild. And you also play it in Pirate Warrior in Wild. And probably nowhere else. Yeah, this card is good. It's like SI7 for weapon. So yeah, it's a nice card. Nerubian Egg is not part of the core set. This I was not expecting to happen. Because they made... Right now in standard, there's basically a worse Nerubian Egg. The 3/4 that's a beast. Being a beast means nothing for that card actually. So having less attack was just a way to make a worse Nerubian Egg. But no, they are bringing the actual Nerubian Egg. I would have preferred if Serpent Egg was here because I like Serpent Egg more. I think a 3/4 is more fair. But well, they broke the Nerubian one, so yeah. Mad Bomber is a card that's still here. I thought this was going to get buff. It could have seen like one more damage randomly split, or finally be like a 2-mana 2/2, deal 3 damage randomly across your opponent's minions or whatever. I'm not excited about this card. Look, Hoarder was a card I also thought was going to rotate. River Croc is back, but Bloodfen Raptor isn't. I'm not sure why bring this one back. It's very boring. But I guess they are pushing like a beast thing for Hunter, and this fits that. It won't see play, but well. Sunriver Spy is back. This card is... It didn't see much play, but it might see play now that, Paladin got new shiny secrets and whatnot. And, well, Secret Keeper was killed for this, so I guess it's better. In their heads, they probably were like, well, Secret Keeper, it's bad because it can high roll and it's weird for your opponent and whatnot, and it can snowball and all those things. Are this card is just game +1/+1 if you have Secret. It's a lot more boring, but it's a lot more... It's a lot more easier to work around than, Secret Keeper. Because Secret Keeper, I guess, was just like the board, one of those cards that they had to keep in mind every time they make secrets, because it could randomly get off of control. It happened once during like Rastakan in standard, where Secret Hunter was really obnoxious and really strong. It had 2 hero cards at the time, so yeah, I guessing that's the reason. Or part of a reason, or I don't know. I might be just wrong and they just like to discarding. Toxicologist is no standard. This is going to be probably weird. You 100% you play this in Weapon Rogue, right? Brewmaster is back. Brightwing is what? I thought Brightwing would not come back, but it did. And Brightwing was designed to be one of those cards to let new players, experience legendary minions, but it was a legendary minion. So it was weird in that regard, but now it's free. So no all new players can play this and play random legendaries, and that's good for new players. That's a design choice that I like. And also it's a dragon, and I don't know if you saw, but Fairy Dragon is no more. And Fairy Dragon was also a card I think could be problematic if they made dragon synergy like for small dragons or whatnot. So yeah, I I like Brightwing being free. I'm going to play Brightwing somewhere, probably in like Menagerie Warrior or something. This is back. This could have seen above, but it didn't. So man, this got above, but still very underwhelming. This goes with the free spell that silence and gives health. So they have this combo for some reason. I don't know. I I I guess it's better than Arcane Watcher, Silent Watcher thing. So yeah, I guess the reasoning behind this is the Silent Watcher thing, the 2 mana 4/5 or whatever it is, came out way too soon into the game, so they were not like eager to print more silent priest cards because it can high roll, it can snowball, you can if you high roll a good hand, you snowball or control and you beat your opponent. It feels very unfair, but this goes 3 mana, so it's not as soon your opponent has time to prepare for it. So yeah, I understand and I agree. Ice Rager replaces Magma Rager. It's better, of course, because it's a 5/2. It doesn't die to the hero power. I don't think you play this, but if you do, you feel better than playing Magma Rager because it has more health. So yeah, I guess play this in like an aggro deck or whatever. Blade Master is back, is the same. Iron Big All is back. This was another card that people thought was going to rotate and didn't know if they wanted a buff or not in it. Because like if this was back to 2 mana, you no longer have it in odd decks. And we are in a point where that doesn't matter much because the only odd deck that cares about silence is Demon Hunter, and Demon Hunter has a silence that goes for 1 mana. But like you could play this in odd rogue and be happy. And if it was 2 mana, you could maybe play it in even Hunter and be happy, but well, it doesn't matter, it didn't. It came back. They decided that neutral silence is something they want, so yeah, keep it. Yogo Panther is back and nobody cares. King Mukla is back and nobody cares. Lone Champion is back from Wild, and this card, I like this card. I like his entry quote. He says, I don't need any of you. And that's very cool. I like this card. He is a champion with no friends. Yeah, that's interesting. It's a card that you play on control and your aggro opponent feels very bad. And probably Jay Alexander will, be really mad when he stumbles to this card, but because this card single-handedly it counters Weapon Rogue because it's a neutral taunt with Divine Shield that comes out kinda early, so it will absorb a lot of attacks. So yeah, it's a good card to have on the basic set. The basic set should always have like a couple neutral tones that are good, so they don't feel like they have to print those. Because before it didn't. Before it had like Silverback Patriarch, which was unplayable, and the Shield Master Tastingo guy, that was also unplayable. So they had to always be printing these, neutral tones. And no, they are not. And no, they don't, because when they don't print a good neutral tone, aggro decks take over the meta, and when they do, it's not as, easy for aggro decks to stumble you. So now they have a couple decent tones. They have this and this, where it is, and this, and they are very good. So yeah, Minimage was a 4 mana 4/1, and now it's a 3 mana 3/1. It's better because it comes out earlier. You probably if you're looking for spell damage, you play this. If you're not, you probably don't. And Rogue no doesn't have Eviscerate, so they might play this card. Who probably won't, but it's fine. It's a fine card. Right Leader now has 3 health. It's still unplayable, but maybe you played it in like what's it called? Dude Paladin, because you used to play this in Odd Paladin and that was okay. I don't think so, but it's a possibility. Spire's Tank, it's a car. Well, it's a mech with good stats, so that's something. I actually had the idea that they probably could, make the Nightmare Amalgam. And I would have wanted that because Nightmare Amalgam is a card that feels like it should be in the core set, even if you don't think so, because even if the effect is a bit stream, it's not a card that's super good everywhere. The Nightmare, the 3/4, because it's just a 3 mana 3/4. So if you were going to make a 3 mana 3/4, probably should have been the Nightmare and not the Spire Tank, but Stone Skin Basilisk is playable, I guess. Defender of Argus is a 4 mana 3/3. I wonder if they will buff Argus in Battlegrounds, because that would be interesting in Battlegrounds, since Standard is not so interesting. But it's a lot better now, I guess. So if you want to play like Handlock, now you have a buff Yaratsu, now you have Mongols Razor Leaf, and now you have this buff, so maybe go relieve some hand buff memories or whatever. Dark Iron Dwarf, it doesn't matter. Shielding Yeti, doesn't matter. Big Hunter is 4 mana, so that's a buff to Zephyrs, I guess. I mean, at 4 mana it's more desirable and it's more playable, so I don't think it's going to be considered, but 4 mana 4/2 is a card you actually want to play. I mean, it's not good either, but Baron Rivender being standard is very Monkas. It's very weird because it's the kind of card that limits the design space for death rattles, but at the same time it's very fun to play. So I guess they took into consideration the possibilities of Rivender standard and decided that it was balanced to have it in standard. Green Necromancer is back. This card always is playing like Token Druid, although Token Druid no longer has Savage Roar, so I'm not sure where you play this. Infiltrator is back, and that's a good thing because there's secrets around, so it's good to have secret stuff. Because I don't know if you remember, but Flare is no longer a thing. So I hope Flare gets buffed, I hope with this staying standard and Flare rotating, I hope it gets buffed to 1 mana, because Hunter decks in Wild probably want to play Flare at 1 mana, and Zephyrs can get you, player for 1 mana, and that's good against like Secret Mage, and Secret Mage is super annoying. So it's also good against Hunter. Player being 1 mana is actually a Hunter buff and a Hunter nerf, but you usually don't care in Hunter if Zephyr's deck kills your secrets, because you probably won't be using them anyways against that. Manipulator is back, so okay. Gurubashi Berserker got buffed to 8 health, it doesn't matter at all, but I feel nostalgic because my very first deck, my very first strategy in the game was actually playing Berserker in Priest and ramming it into other minions and then healing it back and then doing the same. That was like, I don't know, 8 years ago or whatever. So seeing a buff on this card makes me feel nostalgic. But it's still bad. Overlord Run Tag. This is okay. We already know that 5 mana rush with 3 attacks goes somewhere because of Celiax. Of course, Celiax has Life Steal and Divine Shield and all those garbage. A neutral 5 mana rush that buffs your hand is probably something you playing like a control deck that's a little bit heavy on minions. Tiger is back and nobody cares. I think they should have changed the tiger for the other tiger, the one that's also stealth, but it's a 8-3, because that one is more interesting to play against, because it has 3 health, so you can remove it and whatnot, and you take 8 damage randomly, but it's 5 damage. I mean 5 mana. I don't know. This card is very rarely sees play, and that won't change anytime soon. Especially because Druid has this same card, but better. So if you had like the 8-3 instead, you could say, well, maybe you played the 8-3 with like what's it called? Beast Guardian Beast, Guardian whatever, the card that summons, this 5 mana beast, and you have the 8-3 and you play Menagerie Magician on it and you deal 16 damage to your opponent. And that's very fun. That's something you should be able to do, because Druid is very boring otherwise. So yeah, I think that's the reason why they didn't bring back that one and brought back this one instead. But I like the other more. I think it's more interesting. So yeah. Thailand Fort Ring is a card you can use in Wild, because this is like a mini Polkel, but it draws you the card, but it's only minions. You don't play this in like Priest, because you don't care usually, but you can play this in, well, you can play this in Priest because your biggest cost minion is Reno and then Rasa. But you can play this in other decks, like in Sugarwook to get your Sugarwook, or like in Cartoon decks to get your Cartoon, or any old god you want, or you can get anything you want. You can get with this card. You can even play it in like aggro decks and get your top end card, whatever it is. So yeah, this card is very flexible. It has Taunt, Divine Shield, and we already know that 5 mana Taunt, Divine Shield is good, because sometimes you play Celiax and don't attack with it, because it's better for your tempo if you don't. So yeah, we know this card is at least decent in that regard. Of course, not having Rush is a bummer, but it draws you a card. So yeah, it's a good card. I like this card. I like that it's free, so everyone can get it. Everyone can experiment with it, whatever they want, however they want. Probably in wild you can get like Maldigos and whatnot. You play this in Maldigos, Hunter and get Maldigos randomly. I don't know. I like this card. It's very flexible. It's very defensive. It's very controlish, but also probably also good in aggro. If you have a top end card you want to tutor. Yeah, I like this card. This is one of my favorite cards. Care got buffed to 5 mana, or 5 health, 5 attack. It was 4 5 before, right? And Bane got buffed too. I think the way to go with Care was make it 5 mana, 4 5, because a 5 mana it feels more playable. Auctioneer made the cut. This was a surprise. Nobody was expecting this to happen, but it did. This card got buff, but it was so bad before that I'm not sure how it got buff. So let me see. Hi, Inquisitor, White Mane, Hearthstone. So like right now it's a 7 mana card, 6/8. And now it's a 6 mana card, 5/7. This is a win more card. This is not a card you put in any deck, but now it's a card you can put in more decks than before. So it went from 0 to maybe 1, because you can play this in like in standard. You can play this in like a mid-range kind of deck, and on turn 6 or 5 on the coin you trade everything, get control of the board, and then play this and get everything back and win from there. I don't know. I don't like the design of this card very much because it's very win more, but the game needs win more cards. But this one is very bad, so maybe it doesn't matter. Baron Geddon is a 7/7 now, and I guess you can play it and forever take off the game most aggro deck with turn 7, and at that point you don't want to be taking more damage and you are actually taking more damage because of this. So yeah, I'm glad it got buff because it's a legendary, but it probably won't matter, but it's harder to remove, so who knows. Stable Hand got buffed to 5/5 from 4/4, and this doesn't matter because it summons a random beast. And you will get to see that random beasts are not very good. This is another case of a card that's meant for new players to experience cards that they don't have because it's a random beast, so you can get, I don't know, a random beast that they don't have. But it was an epic, so it was very awkward in that sense. It didn't feel the role it was trying to fulfill, because epic cards are not easy to get for new players, especially not ones that are bad, because they don't want to craft this. Because this is very good bad. And if you get this from a pack, it's also very bad. You will feel very bad. So yeah, now it's free, so now it actually fulfills that role. But it's also very bad, so it doesn't actually matter at all. No, Nostormu Eternal, this card is insane. But no, it's not broken. It's not insane in that regard. It's insane in the sense that the design behind this card, it's so good. Like, this card was made to have fun with it. This card was made to have players interact with each other in fun ways. And I think the game needs cards like that. It's like a meme, but it's also not a meme that puts you in a disadvantage, because at the end of the day, you only get the effect if both players are trying to, have fun with this card. And it will lead to a very fun game where everything is super quick and you have to make plays super quick, and you are so stressed and your opponent is so stressed, and then there's no way to end it because it's an effect that will last the entire, thing. And it's funny because you choose to be in that situation. So yeah, Nodormu, excellent being, and it's also a 7 mana 8/8. So even if you're playing this card, you can play it for 7 mana and not be sad about it because that's good stats for the cost, I guess. So yeah, amazing card, amazing memes. I hope the Hearthstone community can come to an agreement to, I don't know, play this card like once a month and everyone is playing and everyone is having fun and that kind of stuff. That's the that's how you know a card is well made, when you can't, you know, get the community to do fun stuff like that. Stormwatcher, this card is from Goro and it's not a good card, so Thorwin Champion is not a 7/7, so no, it's playable now. I guess it's like your top end in token decks, but it's a 7 mana, so you would never make to that top end, but it's better, I guess. I mean, at some point you played this in Odd Paladin in Standard, so I don't know. It feels better to play, but it doesn't fit in the current, meta, in the way that it's so fast that you don't make it to turn 7 to play something like this in an aggro deck. Arcade Devourer used to be a 5/5 and was very bad, and now it's a 4/8 and it's still very bad, but it's better now because with just one spell it becomes a 6/10 and that's very hard to remove. So if you can, I don't know, play this somehow, shit it out or whatever, it can snowball out of control and kill your opponent with it. But it's fair because it's late in the game. So yeah, this card is fun. This card should have been like this the entire time. While it doesn't matter at all. New Alex, it's actually playable in Wild. In OTK Druid, you play Aviana Kun and then play like Brand and old Alex, put your opponent to 15 and then play this and kill them. Supposing they don't have armor, which most opponents don't have, and this is, let's see, it's Aviana Kun, Brand, old Alex, and new Alex. That's a 5-card combo, which is small for a druid combo, and Aviana Kun are both 10, and this is 9, so you can play Gepetto and get it from the Psychic Melon. So you play Psychic Melon, you get this, and Aviana or Kun, and you get Gepetto, and then you play Gepetto and get the other 2 cards you didn't get, and you kill your opponent. And yeah, that's fun. New Maligos, it draws a lot of spells. It's very slow, but you probably play it in another Druid combo. Druid combo can play whatever minion they want because they have the survivability to get there, they have the card draw to get there, and they have Aviana Kun to play whatever minion they want. So you probably play this in, I don't know, Maligos, and you draw your entire fucking deck with this. Or you play it in Togwaggle, you play this, draw all your cards, and then play Togwaggle and switch decks. This has playability in Wild with Druid and probably Druid only. I don't see this being played in any other class. Neo Nixia, it's better than the last one, but it's not good. If it was 8 mana, it would be playable. It won't be broken. It will be a lot of damage if not removed, but it will be broken, but it's not, so maybe Dexter plays it. Sleepy Dragon is not standard, that makes sense. This card, Sleepy Dragon was right obnoxious before because Druid could shit it out very early and it felt really unfair, but they can no longer do that because this is standard, so you play this in like big dragon decks and it's very hard to remove, so it also feels very standard, so yeah. Isera Dreamer, new Isera was so good until it wasn't because of the nerf to the dream card. So yeah, not a wild card. Before, if the dream cards were not nerf, this card will be insane. Not well, not maybe in wild, but maybe there were scenarios where it would have been, like a win condition in a wacky wild deck, but it isn't. So yeah, new Deadwing very is better, but not that much. And Clockwork Gigant. Clockwork Gigant punishes your opponent for playing slow decks, and that's it. If they have 10 cards in hand, this goes 2. That will never happen. If they had 9 cards, this goes 3. And that's not cheap enough. So this is bad. And well, that's the entire core set. So yeah, I know I don't sound like I'm too hype, but there's a few key cards like Neunos Dormu and like Dayland that actually I'm happy they exist. Rivender is standard. I'm also happy. Lone Champion is interesting. Yeah, I mean, the core set is not what I expected it to be. I was expecting a higher power level, but it makes sense for it to not be a higher power level because it's supposed to be the core set and it's also free. But I overall like the changes. I actually like the depths for doing this. This was amazing. Like making the core set free to all players and the fact it contains so many legendaries means that as a new player or as a budget player you actually have a lot of choices to pick from. Of course it's not that strong. It's actually, I mean, on average it's stronger than the basic set was because the card quality is better. There are actually a lot fewer cards that are unplayable. All basic and all classic had a ton of cards that were downright unplayable, but it still has a lot of bad cards that won't see play. So yeah, as a new player, amazing. Over 200 cards for free. That's a bargain. As a old player, well, it's free, so you don't have to worry about it, and you get all the golden cards for free also for leveling up. So that's good if you are into that, into getting golden cards. And well, the buff are interesting for a while. Some of them will probably shape the meta. Usually not much, but the priest card is insane. Yaratsus won't shape the meta once he play, but it's also insane. New Siphon Soul, new Lakari, new Drain Soul. There are a couple cards that got buff here that will shake the meta, and also it's are announced that most of the cards that didn't make it to the core set that were basic and classic, they will look through them and they will buff them as much as they can, revert the nerf and make them, as they were. So probably, the combination of the few buff we got in here and the ton of buff we'll get in the from the rotating cards, maybe that will be enough to shake the meta in wild, because right now the meta in wild is kind of stagnant. It's kind of boring also. So yeah.